In our headlines on this Wednesday afternoon, June 21st, here in South Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol invites the globe to Busan for the 2030 World Expo. In a speech addressing the General Assembly of the International Bureau of Expositions on Tuesday in Paris, in a high-profile push to boost Busan's bid. Meanwhile, Seoul's Trade Ministry shares a strategy to expand the circular economy model to include 9 major industries, namely batteries, petrochemicals and steel, to maximize resource utilization and minimize related waste and pollution. Also, in the world of ballet, South Korea's Kang Mi-sun is bringing home the honor of the best female dancer from the Benois de la Danse in Moscow, that is regarded as one of the most prestigious ballet competitions worldwide. President Yoon Suk-yeol says Busan is ready to put on stage the best World Expo of all times. The remarks were shared during his address at the BIE in Paris on Tuesday. Our senior presidential office correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
Technicolored and multidimensional, South Korea's pitch to host the World Expo 2030 in the southeast coast city of Busan featured President Yoon Suk-yeol and the country's most prominent figures in K-pop in a 30-minute presentation in Paris on Tuesday. Leveraging the country's digital technology and its recent history of modernization, Yoon delivered his speech in person, painting a vision of ideals with Busan as a platform of hope for progress and prosperity in a time of complex and urgent challenges.
70 years ago, once turned Korea to ruin. But thanks to the help of the international community, Korea transformed itself into an economic powerhouse full of high-tech industry and innovative technologies. Korea wishes to give back to the international community what it has received thus far.
Yoon in particular drew attention to climate change and gaps in access to food, healthcare and digital infrastructure, which worsen global inequality. He pledged to provide Korea's largest ever assistance package for more than 110 member states participating in the Expo, highlighting the Busan Initiative, which is aimed at providing customized solutions for developing countries. K-pop legend Psy, who rose to global fame with Gangnam Style and famously sparked a 20,000-strong flash mob in Paris 11 years ago, was also part of a star-studded appeal.
Out of the norm and entirely unconventional, both musically and physically, my debut came as a shock to many. Despite the challenges that I've been through, I never gave up, just like Korea never did 70 years ago. With that Korean spirit, I had the willpower and the unwavering drive to create without conforming.
The Busan Expo's chief architect envisioned a space inspired by the Korean tradition of harmonizing nature, humanity and technology, infused with sustainable materials and 100% green energy.
Additionally, we are thrilled to present the world's first UN habitat floating city. This groundbreaking edition presents yet another innovative solution.
Up against Italy's Rome and Saudi Arabia's Riyadh, the fourth presentation is considered the most critical pitch for the Busan Expo team before the member states go to the ballot in November.
South Korea's pulled out all the stops with the president's pitch and the power of K-pop augmented by digital tech. But will this be enough to win the World Expo bid? The leaders of Samsung, SK, Lotte and Hyundai will also join forces here in the French capital at a reception event on Wednesday. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News, Paris.
Also in Paris, President Yoon Suk-yeol and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron reaffirmed their commitment to security amid North Korea's provocations as well as Russia's war in Ukraine, and to prosperity amid prospects for joint advances in space exploration and nuclear energy. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon has more.
Well, President Yoon Suk-yeol may be in Paris to promote Busan's bid for the 2030 World Expo. Top of his agenda when meeting his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron was security and economic cooperation. Before his BIE presentation on Tuesday local time, Yoon and Macron kicked off the summit by addressing the media on their plans.
북한의 핵 위협은 한반도와 동북아를 넘어 전 세계 평화에 대한 중대한 도전입니다. 안보리 결의를 위반한 북한의 불법적 도발에 대해 대한민국은 차기 안보리 비상임 이사국으로서 상임 이사국인 프랑스와 긴밀히 협력해서 대처해 나갈 것입니다.
France will support South Korea in order to resolutely respond to North Korean nuclear threats based on a common commitment under international law to achieve complete, verifiable and irreversible denuclearization. We will continue to firmly condemn the obvious violation of human rights.
Yoon also touted France's efforts to restore peace in Ukraine and vowed to actively work with the international community to bring peace to the country and help with its restoration. The leaders also exchanged ideas on economic cooperation, especially on advanced technology during the summit, saying there are areas where the two countries have strengths but have yet to work together on.
We will cooperate so that South Korea's new space agency can work with France's National Space Centre, which is the third or fourth best in the world. This includes space exploration and satellite use. Also, as France has 56 nuclear power plants in operation, we will expand cooperation in small modular reactors, next-generation nuclear power, regulations and decommissioning plants.
According to an official at the top office, Yoon also spoke to Macron about mitigating the effects of EU's trade laws on South Korean companies. They also discussed cooperation in diversifying the supply chain and moving away from dependence on one country for certain imports. In the meantime, President Yoon also met with young entrepreneurs from South Korea and France at Station F, known as the world's biggest startup campus, and discussed using innovation as a force for overcoming challenges and crises facing the world. Yoon said endless innovation based on freedom and solidarity is needed to overcome such challenges. And saying the future generation needs to arm themselves with innovative minds rooted in liberalism and internationalism, Yoon vowed support from the South Korean government, no matter where they're from. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
In other news, the Biden administration has decided to maintain its national emergency with regard to North Korea. According to the White House, President Joe Biden informed the U.S. Congress of his decision, citing the regime's proliferation of weapons-grade fissile material and its pursuit of nuclear and missile programs, as well as other acts of provocation. The national emergency was first declared back in the year 2008 and has been in place since then. The declaration grants access to powers and authorities under certain laws that would not otherwise be in effect. And across the border, pundits believe Pyongyang may be preparing a military parade for July. According to Radio Free Asia, satellite imagery from Planet Labs showed troops and vehicles lined up at the Mirim Parade training ground in the North Korean capital city last Thursday. The training could reportedly involve some 4,000 to 8,000 personnel and as many as 8,000 military vehicles on a scale unseen in recent years, as North Korea marks its Victory Day on July 27th in light of the truce that ended the Korean War. Observers also believe the regime may seek another space attempt prior to the parade or unveil a new weapon during the parade. Korean ballerina Kang Mi-sun danced her way to the top of one of the world's most prestigious competitions. Our Ian Jin covers her commendable feat and more.
On Tuesday, local time, South Korean Kang Mi-sun was awarded the Best Female Dancer Award at the Benois de la Danse in Moscow. She shared the honor with China's Chu Yun-ting after the winners beat 4 other competitors from ballet companies around the world. Kang is currently a principal ballerina at Universal Ballet, one of South Korea's 2 major ballet companies. Not only has she had the longest career as a dancer in South Korea, but she's also one of the country's first ballerinas to also be a working mom.
I couldn't believe it when I heard that I was the longest active female dancer in Korean ballet. It was an interesting feeling.
After graduating from Sunhwa Arts High School, she trained at the Washington Kirov Academy of Ballet in the United States, then joined Universal Ballet as an apprentice and rose through the ranks before becoming a principal dancer in 2012. 40-year-old Kang was recognized for her lead role as a widow in a creative piece titled 미래내길 that the ballet company premiered in Seoul in March. The Benois de la Danse was created by the International Dance Association in Moscow in 1991 to honor distinguished French choreographer Jean-Georges Nouvier. And Kang is the 5th Korean to win a Benois de la Danse prize after Kang Soo-jin in 1999, Kim Joo-won in 2006, Kim Gi-min in 2016, and Park Se-eun in 2018. 이은진, Arirang News.
Korea is looking to expand its adoption of a circular economy model to fight resource waste and carbon emission. Our business correspondent Shin Ha-young explains.
The government is rolling up its sleeves to expand the so-called circular economy across several local industries. The circular economy refers to a system based on reusing materials or products for sustainable and environmentally friendly production. This was discussed during an emergency ministerial meeting hosted by Finance Minister Chu Kyung-ho on Wednesday.
The impact of the circular economy on export competitiveness is expanding in key industries such as steel and petrochemicals. In response, the government will expand the circular economy across our industries to become a new driving force for growth.
During the meeting, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy unveiled its latest strategy, the CE9 project, aimed at promoting recycling and maximizing resource utilization. Under the strategy, the government will seek sustainable growth for 9 industries, including batteries, petrochemicals, and steel. In the battery sector, a core component of electric vehicles, it will support the development of technologies to gather lithium and nickel from used electric vehicle batteries by backing research and development. It will also extend its support to initiatives aimed at producing oil from plastic waste while revising related policies. To establish a recycled resource supply chain, the country plans to enhance technology cooperation between conglomerates and small businesses and promote joint investments in processing facilities. The Trade Ministry said the circular economy is expected to contribute to reducing carbon emissions and stabilizing the supply of resources. The plans were announced amid a rising global circular economy market, which is expected to reach $4.5 trillion by 2030. Meanwhile, during the meeting, the nurturing of deep science-related startups was also discussed. The Ministry of Science and ICT aims to double the number of R&D startups from the previous year's 2,879 to 5,500 by 2027 by injecting roughly $540 million in deep science startups that deal with advanced scientific technologies such as quantum technology and nuclear fusion. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
Also, on the local front, third quarter electricity rates will remain at their present levels. According to the state-run Korea Electric Power Corporation on this Wednesday, the fuel cost-adjusted rate will remain at 5 won per kilowatt-hour for the July to September period. This latest decision follows 5 hikes in a row since April 2022 that pushed up prices by some 40%. KEPCO posted a record-high operating loss last year and reportedly needs to raise rates by at least 51.6 won per kilowatt-hour within this year to shift back into the black. So far, rates have been raised by 21.1 won. A lengthy legal battle between the government here and Elliot Investment Management has come to an end, with South Korea ordered to pay a hefty financial compensation to the American hedge fund giant. Our foreign affairs correspondent Choi Min-jung reports.
The South Korean government has been ordered to pay tens of millions of dollars to U.S. hedge fund Elliot Investment Management, marking an end to a legal battle dating back to 2015. The Netherlands-based Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled Tuesday that the Seoul government must pay damages of some $53 million to Elliot. This compensation is around 7% of the $770 million the hedge fund had been seeking from the Korean government. Combined with interest and legal fees, however, the government will be ordered to pay a total of more than $100 million. The dispute began with the controversial merger of 2 Samsung affiliates, Samsung C&T and Jail Industries. Elliot was once a shareholder of Samsung C&T, holding a 7.12% stake. The hedge fund was against the idea of a merger of both Samsung companies, saying it undervalued Samsung C&T and was contrary to investors' interest. However, the merger went ahead, prompting Elliot to initiate legal action in 2018, demanding hundreds of millions of dollars in compensation from Seoul. It also accused the former Park Geun-hye administration of pressuring the largest Samsung C&T shareholder at the time to vote in favor of the merger. The move was also widely regarded as a scheme to strengthen then Samsung heir Lee Jae-yong's control over the group. The Justice Ministry said it put all efforts into defending the case and will announce future plans soon. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
Korean startups valued above $1 billion have witnessed a decline in their global market share. According to the Federation of Korean Industries, Korean unicorn companies' share of the global market expanded 12% between the end of 2019 and May this year, reaching $32.5 billion. And during that period, the value of global unicorns grew by almost 184% to $3.85 trillion, while Korean unicorns' share of the global total value fell from 2.1% to 0.8%. The share in terms of the number of companies is also down. Currently, there are 14 unicorns in Korea, accounting for 1.2% of the global total, down from 2.2% at the end of 2019. Polish pilots are taking to the air here in the country as part of training sessions to master Korean military aircraft. The latest sessions follow earlier sales of dozens of South Korea's Fa-50 fighter jets to Poland. Our defense correspondent Kim Hyun-sung has details.
Clear for takeoff. Flying high in the skies above Yecheon with the South Korean aircraft TA-50 are pilots not from South Korea but from Poland.
So these pilots have traveled about 8,000 kilometers away from their home country to hone their craft with Korean jets.
Last year, Poland penned a deal with Korea Aerospace Industries to buy 48 of their fighter jets, the Fa-50. With the new fleet comes a need for a fresh set of skills to fly these aircraft. And that's why these Polish pilots are here. With 4 months of rigorous training, they've graduated from the trainer versions of the Fa-50, the unarmed T-50, and the more advanced TA-50. The pilots have been tested in simulated missions to better prepare them for combat situations. The complex training required a high level of communication and cooperation from both the Korean and Polish pilots.
We've trained to showcase South Korea's superior flight system and domestic jets globally. We hope our Fa-50PL and training contributes to Poland's air defense.
The Polish pilots were particularly impressed by the Korean jet's ergonomic design, swift acceleration, and responsive maneuverability. But what they've gained in South Korea extends beyond new flight skills. Friendships have been forged and cultures exchanged.
Polish pilot team received not only new flight skills in Korea, but also discovered some kind of incredible Korean culture. Many opportunity to find out some kind of new things in Korea.
As Poland expects its first Fa-50 jets to undergo flight tests in July and be delivered to Warsaw in August, these pilots are expected to be home in time for those jets' arrival. Kim Hyun-sung, Arirang News, Yecheon.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the world now. In the United States, Hunter Biden, the son of U.S. President Joe Biden, is expected to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax crimes and admit to illegally possessing a gun while a drug user. The plea agreement is expected to keep him out of jail, but still needs the approval of the judge overseeing the case. The gun charge is likely to be dismissed. Hunter Biden is also expected to agree to monitoring and receiving drug treatment. This comes after a 5-year investigation into his tax affairs. The U.S. president's son is a former lawyer and was discharged from the U.S. Navy in 2014 after testing positive for cocaine. To the North Atlantic now, a multi-agency search and rescue operation is racing against time to find a missing submersible that was taking tourists to the wreckage of the Titanic. 5 people are on board the vessel, which reportedly only has enough oxygen left to last under 40 hours. Among those missing are a French explorer, a British billionaire, a Pakistani businessman and his son, and the founder of the company running the trip. Rescuers say that operations are challenging due to the remote search area. The Titanic lies 600 kilometers off the coast of Newfoundland and almost 4 kilometers below the ocean's surface. Contact was lost with the submersible 1 hour and 45 minutes into its dive on Sunday. Estonia passed a law on Tuesday legalizing same-sex marriage. The new law received 55 votes in favor in Estonia's 101-seat parliament. It was mostly supported by a coalition of liberal and social democratic parties. The move makes Estonia the first former Soviet state to legalize same-sex marriage. The new law will be implemented in 2024. And finally, Germany has unveiled a teddy bear as its mascot for the UEFA Euro 2024 football tournament. The European Championship mascot was spotted on Tuesday for the first time, visiting a primary school in Gelsenkirchen. As well as wearing a football jersey, socks and boots, it was also wearing pants. A notable feature, as Germany's lion mascot for the 2006 World Cup drew ridicule for being naked from the waist down. Fans can help name the teddy bear by voting for Albert, Bernardo, Bernhard or Herzi von Bär. The football tournament will kick off on June 14, 2024. Matthew Ashley, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. Rain that started overnight is tapering off from the west, but northeastern regions like Gangwon-do province could be seeing more rain into the late afternoon. But Ulleungdo and Dokdo could receive heavier rain into the evening, so please keep an umbrella handy. It's summer solstice today. Rain keeps the country a couple of degrees cooler than norms in most parts with that high humidity. And especially those in Gwangju are having much more comfortable top temperatures this afternoon. Highs in most parts are hovering in the mid to upper 20s under murky skies, and the air quality will be decent nationwide all day today. Passing rain is in the forecast in central regions in Gyeongsang-Bukdo province tomorrow. Then temperatures soar to the warmer side as we head into the weekend with sunnier skies returning on Friday. Then on Sunday, we're looking at this year's monsoon season kicking off on Jeju Island. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That ends Wednesday's afternoon newscast, but do stay with us for our daily panel session coming up next. Thank you for now.